No data? No problem. With the lowest data rates in the country, have extra fun with SLT Extra GB.
For more details, call 1212.
It is a right. While party leaders are set to discuss State Land Special Provisions Bill, Prime Minister asserts that outright ownership of land is a right. Motives questioned. A special purpose aircraft able to carry out ground surveillance lands in Sri Lanka. Questions raised on its mission. Answers demanded. MP Bandula Gunawardena demands explanation from government over the visit of 2 US senators in Jaffna. New breach. Iran announces breach, increasing uranium enrichment beyond the threshold agreed in a landmark nuclear deal. All these stories and much more coming up on First at 9 this Sunday, the 7th of July 2019.
මොහොන සති කීපයකට කලින් Fair and Lovely men ගෑවට පස්සේ මාක්ස් අඩු වෙලා fairness වැඩි වෙලා.
මාක්ස් අඩු කරලා ඔයාගේ fairness standard එක වැඩි කරගන්න. Fair and Lovely men anti-marks cream.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
A very good evening and welcome to First at 9 on AdaDerana 24, Sri Lanka's news channel. I'm Katharina Chang. I want your top story tonight. Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe was critical of objections raised by several non-government organisations against the proposed State Land Special Provisions Bill. At an event in Ampara today, the Prime Minister said that he is even ready to take his fight to the streets for citizens' rights. The national programme to hand over land deeds to 1 million residents was held in Ampara today.
Cabinet Mandale Anumati ඇතුව පනතක් සකස් කරගත්තා. ඉදන් විශේෂ විධිවිධාන පනත. ඒ කෙටුම් පතෙන් අවුරුදු 10කට වඩා හිටපු අයට සින්නක්කර අයිතිය ලැබෙනවා. මේ ඔප්පුව පෙන්නුවා නම් තමන්ගේ බලපත්‍රය පෙන්නුවා නම් කැමති ඕනෑ කෙනෙක්ට ඒක සින්නක්කර බවට පරිවර්තනය කරන්න පුළුවන්. අකමැති නම් මේ ඔප්පුව විතරක් තියාගන්න නැත්නම් බලපත්‍රය තියාගන්න. අපි කාටවත් බල කරන්නේ නැහැ. දැන් ඔය කෙටුම් පත සකස් කරලා කැබිනට් එකෙන් අනුමත කරන්න මම හිතන්නේ හැමතිම අවුරුදු 2ක් ගියා. එක එක බලවේගයකට විරුද්ධ වුණා. දැන් සංවිධාන දෙකක් ගෙයින් තියෙනවා මේ රටේ ඔබට සින්නක්කර අයිතිය දෙන්න එපා කියලා. දැන් මේක නවත්තන්න නඩු කියන්න හදනවලු. අපි කියන්නේ මේ සින්නක්කර අයිතිය දෙන එක කාටවත් නවත්තන්න බෑ කියලා මම කියන්න කැමතියි. මේ ගැන අපේ සහයෝගය පෙන්වන්න අපි පාරට බහිමු කියලා මම මෙතන ප්‍රකාශ කරන්න කැමතියි.
Meanwhile, a special party leaders meeting is scheduled for tomorrow with the State Land Special Provisions Bill, which is slated to be taken up for debate in Parliament on Friday, likely to be discussed. The meeting to convene at the Parliamentary Complex will be chaired by Speaker Karu Jayasuriya. The meeting will likely focus on whether the parliamentary debate on the draft bill should be taken up or pushed back, as several petitions are already filed against it. UPFA parliamentarian Dinesh Gunawardena, however, said that they have not yet been informed of the motive behind tomorrow's party leaders' meeting. Opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa is of the view that the government is attempting to sell the country's lands to foreign nations through the proposed status of forces agreement with the United States. He expressed these views at the SLPP office in Kurunegala today during a program for councillors representing Kurunegala district on plans for the upcoming presidential election.
ජාතියට තියෙන ආරක්ෂාව දෙමළ ජනතාවට තියෙනවද ආරක්ෂාවක් මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ මුස්ලිම් ජනතාවට ආරක්ෂාවක් තියෙනවද මේ ආණ්ඩුවේ ආණ්ඩුව කතා කරනවා ඔක්කොම හරි ඔක්කොම අත්අඩංගු වෙන්නේ කිසි ප්‍රශ්නයක් නැහැ අවුවම කියනවා ඊට පස්සේ පත්‍රේ වැටෙනවා ත්‍රස්තවාදියෙක් විවාහ අත්අඩංගුවට ගත්තා කියලා. ඉතින් මේ වගේ රට තුල තියෙන අස්ථාවරක් අද මොකද මේ කට්ටිය කරන්න හදන්නේ මේ මාස 3-4 දඩි පිටි ගාලා රට විකුණන බණක් ටික ගේන්න සූදානම් වෙලා තියෙනවා. අර සෝෆා ගිවිසුමත් එක්ක ගහපු ගිවිසුමේ ආර්ථික කොරිඩෝව තිරුකුණාමලේ ඉඳලා කොළඹට මේ දෙපැත්තේ තියෙන ඉඩම් ටික මේ මොකද්ද කරන්න හදන්නේ? ඕනෑම රටකට විකුණන්න පුළුවන් තත්යකට ගේන්න. රටේ ජනාධිපතිවරයා කියනවා එහෙම කරන්න දෙන්නේ නැහැ කියලා අපිට ඇවිල්ලා කිව්වා. ඒ අපි ජනාධිපතිවරයාට කිව්වා ඉඩම් ලේකම්වලයාට කියන්න වහම ගැසට් එකකින් මේක වහම ආවරම් කරන්න. ඉවරයි. මේක ජනාධිපතිවරයා කියන්න ඕන ලේකම්වරයාට. නියෝගයක් දෙන්න ඕන. ආයිත් මොකද කැබිනට් එකේ අහයි. මේ රටේ මිනිස්සු එයාටනේ ඡන්දෙ දුන්නේ. එදා පල්ලිය වෙච්ච සිද්ධිය නොවෙන්න තිබිච්ච සිද්ධිය ආරක්ෂා කරන්න තියෙන සිද්ධිය ආණ්ඩුවේ නොසැලකිල්ල නිසා. ඒක රජයේ නොසැලකිල්ල නිසායි කියලා මම චෝදනා කරනවා.
The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce on the 3rd of July called on the government to provide an enhanced level of transparency with regard to the status of Forces Agreement and the Millennium Challenge Corporation Agreement. Now, in a letter today responding to the CCC statement, the Prime Minister's office said that the Millennium Challenge Corporation Agreement will be presented to Parliament soon, while clarifying that there is no status of Forces Agreement with USA.
The Ceylon Chamber of Commerce requested the government to shed light on the potential consequences of these agreements and also to clarify the exact position with regard to the current status of negotiations and/or execution of these agreements. The statement by Ceylon Chamber of Commerce said that this would add value to provide comfort to key stakeholders and public at large. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister's office, in a letter to the chairman of Ceylon Chamber of Commerce, Dr. Hans Vijayasuriya, responded to the lack of transparency from the government side pertaining to these agreements. A statement signed by Secretary to the Prime Minister S.B. Ekanayake highlighted that the government had adhered to values of good governance and transparency by informing members of the Chamber of Commerce on ongoing negotiations of the Millennium Challenge Corporation Agreement on the 4th, 7th and 8th of April in 2016, 14th and 22nd of June of 2016, 5th and 6th of April in 2017 and between the 9th and 19th of October of 2018 as well as on the 27th of October last year. The statement also said that the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce was informed of specific projects coming within the Millennium Challenge Corporation Agreement as per the development plan. It went on to say that the MCC Compact will be presented to the Parliament for legislative approval. The letter went on to highlight that there is no SOFA between Sri Lanka and the United States.
Leader of the Tamil National Alliance, R. Sambandhan, says Sri Lanka must uphold its commitments made to the international community following the end of the conflict and called for the need of a solution to the national question. Meanwhile, Minister Mangala Samaraweera says that he is unsatisfied with the country's development during the past 30 years and added that extremism is hindering the progress of the nation. Mangala Samaraweera, an autobiography of his 30-year political journey authored by Nihal Jagat Chandra, was launched in Mathura today.
Commitment was made to the international community that once the LTTE was defeated, there would be a reasonable political solution. Forward movements during President Ranasinghe Premadas's time, President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumarasinghe's time, and President Mahinda Rajapaksa's time clearly indicated. But now everything seems dead, though expectations were very different. In this background, it appears to be that two questions arise. Can there be forward political movement only in the face of armed conflict? Is this the expectation of the world? In the Sri Lankan context, if the armed conflict has come to an end, as desired by the Sri Lankan government, does it mean that all commitment made by the Sri Lankan government to the international community become redundant? If the Sri Lankan government is reneging on its commitments, can the international community be silent spectators? Can the national question that has lasted for 70 years, ever since the country became independent, with a serious armed conflict that lasted over 30 years, which even brought foreign forces to our country, which has resulted in several commitments being made at different stages, be just forgotten and wished away? Or is it compulsory for all right-thinking Sri Lankans to come together to bring this whole question to a satisfactory conclusion? The United Nations Human Rights Council resolution remains unimplemented. The government appears to be stuck. Government appears to be unable to move.
මගේ හෘද සාක්ෂියට එකඟව කතා කරොත් වසර 30ක් තුල ඒ ලබාගත් ප්‍රගතිය ගැන අපිට අත් වශයෙන්ම සෑහීමකට පත් වෙන්න බෑ. අන්තවාදයෙන් පෝෂණය වූ ලොකු කුඩා සියලු දේශපාලන
නායකයන් වත් කියන්න ඕනේ. ඒ විතරක් නෙමෙයි. බෞද්ධ දර්ශනයේ නාමයෙන් ජාතිවාදය වපුරන චීවරධාරීන් මේ තත්වයට වත් කියන්න ඕනේ. රට ආපස්සට ගිහින් නම් ඒ තත්වයට මමත් වත් කියන්නට ඕනේ.
Leader of the Pivituru Helurumea Uday Gamampila is insistent that the next presidential election should be held between the period from November 9 to December 9 this year. Speaking to media, the MP went on to say that the president must vacate his position with the completion of a 5-year term and therefore elections should be called imminently.
ආණ්ඩුක්‍රම ව්‍යවස්ථාවේ 32 වගන්තිය අනුව ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ දූර කාලය අවුරුදු 5ක් 2005 දී ශ්‍රේෂ්ඨාධිකරණයේ පංචපුද්ගල විනිසුරු මණ්ඩලයක් කියනවා ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ දූර කාලය ආරම්භ වන්නේ දිවුරුන් දුන්න දින සිටය කියලා. එහෙනම් මෛත්‍රීපාල සිරිසේන ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ දූර කාලය අවසන් වෙන්නේ 2020 ජනවාරි මාසේ 9 වෙනිදා. ඊළඟ ජනාධිපතිවරණය ව්‍යවස්ථාවට අනුව 2019 නොවැම්බර් 9යි දෙසැම්බර් 9යි අතර පැවැත්විය යුතුයි. ඒ අනුව 2019 සැප්තැම්බර් 7 වෙනිදාත් ඔක්තෝබර් 26ත් අතර දිනක ජනාධිපතිවරණය ප්‍රකාශයට පත් කළ යුතුමයි. 19 වන සංශෝධනයේ කිසිම තැනක ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ දූර කාලයේ ආරම්භ වන්නේ 19 වන සංශෝධනයට අත්සන් තැබූ දින සිටය කියලා අන්තර්කාලීන විධිවිධානයක් සඳහන් වන්නේ නැහැ කියලා ඊටාම වගකීමෙන් මම ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා. ඇමරිකානු පුරවැසි භාවයේ පිළිබඳ ප්‍රශ්නයේ 100%කින් විසඳාගෙන ඇත. පවතින නඩුවල කුමන තීන්දුව ලැබුණත් ගෝඨාභය රාජපක්ෂ මැතිතුමා හිරේ දැම්මත් එතුමා තමයි අපේ ජනාධිපති අපේක්ෂා.
And with that we cross over to a short commercial break, but make sure you stay tuned for more local news right after that. Welcome back to the news. Back to one of our local news now. A special purpose aircraft able to carry out ground surveillance up to 800 meters, which is currently at the Bandaranaike International Airport, has raised many questions. Speaking to media, UPF MP Kanaka Herap said that the aircraft on Lankan soil is a signal whether the government is attempting to sell natural resources to foreign nations.
පින්තූරේ පේන මේ ගුවන් යානය ස්පෙක්ට්‍රම් කියන ගුවන් සමාගමට අයිති. මේ ගුවන් යානය අපේ ගුවන් තොටුපළේ අද තියෙන්නේ මොකද කියන ප්‍රශ්නේ තමයි අද අපිට තියෙන්නේ ලොකුම ගැටලුව. විද්‍යුත් චුම්බක පරීක්ෂණය කිරීම තමයි මේ සමාගමෙන් ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නේ. එතකොට මේ සමාගමට තමයි තියෙන්නේ තාමත් බලවත් ශක්තිමත්ම ලෝකයේ තියෙන විද්‍යුත් චුම්බක පද්ධතිය තියෙන්නේ ස්පෙක්ට්‍රම් කියන සමාගමට. එතකොට පොළොව මට්ටමේ සිට මීටර් 800ක් පමණ පොළොව යට නිරීක්ෂණය කිරීමේ හැකියාවක් තියෙනවා මේ සමාගමේ තියෙන තාක්ෂණ මෙවලම් වලට. විශේෂයෙන්ම පසුගිය දවස්වල අපි සාකච්ඡා කතා කරමු ඇමරිකානු ගිවිසුම් ගැන. සෝෆා ගිවිසුම සහ එක්සා ගිවිසුම මගින් රටේ භූමි තීරයක් මේ ඇමරිකාවට ලබා දෙන කතාවක් ගැන කිව්වා. ඉතින් ඒත් සමග සමගාමීව තමයි මේ ආකාරයෙන් විද්‍යුත් චුම්බක බලය මගින් භූ විද්‍යාත්මක පරීක්ෂණ කිරීම සඳහා මේ ආකාරයේ ගුවන් යානයක් අපේ රටට ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ. අපේ රටේ තියෙන භූගත ඛනිජ සම්පත් ටිකත් විකුණම් කරන්න හදනවාද කියලා අපිට මේ අවස්ථාවේදී ප්‍රශ්නයක් ඇති වෙනවා.
However, when inquired about these allegations from the Director of Civil Aviation Authority, H.M. Nimalshri, he said that the said aircraft is travelling from Indonesia to Mumbai and is currently at the Katnaike International Airport for maintenance purposes. He further noted that the aircraft will be in Sri Lanka until next Tuesday. UPFA parliamentarian Bandul Gunawardena calls on the United National Party to give clarification on observational tours by 2 high-level US diplomats to the Jaffna Peninsula. Meanwhile, State Minister of Defence Ruwan Wijewardena said that the matter will be taken up when the Security Council meets today as scheduled.
දේශීය විදේශීය මාධ්‍ය ආයතන විසින් වාර්තා කළා තියෙනවා යාපනයේ පලාලි ගුවන්තොටුපළට කිලෝමීටර් 2ක් වගේ ප්‍රදේශය තුල ඉඩම් පිළිබඳ පරීක්ෂණයක් සඳහා ඇමරිකා එක්සත් ජනපදයේ සෙනට් මන්ත්‍රීවරු දෙදෙනෙක් ලංකාවට පැමිණිලා ඒ ප්‍රදේශයේ සැරිසරන බව. ඇමරිකාවේ රාජ්‍ය නිලධාරීන් සැරිසරීම බරපතල ප්‍රශ්නයක් බවට පත් වෙලා තියෙනවා. මේ සඳහා අණ දෙන්නේ කවුද? කවුද එන්නේ? කොහොමද එන්නේ? කුමන ආකාරයකටද කටයුතු කරන්නේ කියන එක පිළිබඳ පැහැදිලි කිරීමක් එක්සත් ජාතික පක්ෂය විසින් කළ යුතු වෙනවා.
ඉඩම් නිරීක්ෂණය කිරීම ගැන නම් ඇත්තම අපිට ආරංචියක් හම්බුනේ නැහැ. නමුත් අපිට ආරංචි කීප දෙනෙක් ඒ පැත්තට ගිහිල්ලා තියෙනවා කියලා. ඒ ගැන දැන් මමත් අපේ ආරක්ෂක ලේකම්තුමාටත් ඉදා කතා කරලා ඒ ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් හොයලා බලලා මට දැනුවත් කරන්න කියලා මම කියලා තියෙනවා. මොකද අද ආරක්ෂක කමිටුවත් රැස් වෙනවා ජනාධිපතිතුමාගේ ප්‍රධානත්වයෙන්. මම හිතන්නේ මේ ගැන සාකච්ඡා වෙයි. මේ විදේශිකයන්ට ඕන විදිහට ඇවිල්ලා මේ රටේ මේ ඉඩම් ගන්න බෑනේ. ඉතින් ඒක යම් කිසි නීතියක් තියෙනවා.
ඕන විදේශ රටකට කෙනෙකුට ලංකාවේ ඉඩම් ගන්න පුළුවන්. හැබැයි බද්ද 100 300ක් ගෙවන්න ඕන. ඕගොල්ලෝ දන්නේ නැද්ද?
The Saudi government has increased the Hajj quota for Sri Lankan pilgrims by adding 500 visas to the existing number, bringing the total to 4,000 from this year. Minister of Muslim Religious Affairs M.H.M. Halim said to Arab News that the new quota would be distributed among the prospective pilgrims on the ministry's waiting list. Prospective pilgrims will have to apply with the required documents through a licensed travel operator in Sri Lanka, which will obtain the pilgrimage visas for the applicants provided they have not performed Hajj in the past 5 years. Meanwhile, market analysts expect the positive sentiment to continue at the Colombo Stock Exchange over the course of next week, with heavy buying interest on selective counters. During the end of the week, the all-share price index gained 2.7%, while the S&P 20 increased by 3.9%. We have Achudan Srirangan from First Capital Holdings with your market forecast.
We expect the positive sentiment to continue in both debt and equity capital market. The secondary market, security market witnessed a buying interest last week with the local counterparties throughout the week, and we expect this to continue in the next week as well. And we expect the stock market to be positive during the upcoming week amidst the change in the sentiment. We also believe that the retail and high net worth activity to be on the high side with a heavy buying interest on selective counters.
African leaders met today to launch a continental free trade zone that, if successful, would unite 1.3 billion people to create a $3.4 trillion economic bloc and usher in a new era of development. After 4 years of talks, an agreement to form a 55-nation trade bloc was reached in March, paving the way for Sunday's African Union Summit in Niger, where attendees will unveil which nation will host the trade zone's headquarters, when trading will start, and discuss how exactly it will work. It is hoped that the African Continental Free Trade Area, the largest since the creation of the World Trade Organization in 1994, will help unlock Africa's long-stemmed economic potential by boosting intra-regional trade, strengthening supply chains, and spreading expertise. Intra-regional trade within the African continent accounted for just 17% of exports in 2017 versus 59% in Asia and 69% in Europe. Well, we have more news for you right after this commercial break, so make sure you stay tuned. Iran said today that it would scale back its commitment to the 2015 nuclear deal, with world powers raising its uranium enrichment level beyond agreed levels to produce fuel for power plants. The announcement signaled a growing challenge to escalating US sanctions pressure. Now, in a news conference, senior Iranian officials said Tehran would keep reducing its commitments every 60 days unless signatories of the pact move to protect it from US sanctions, but they left the door open to diplomacy. Before the deal was sealed, Iran produced 20% enriched uranium needed to fuel its Tehran reactor and the level of enrichment for its southern Bushehr nuclear power plant, which was 5%. In a sign of heightening Western concern, French President Emmanuel Macron said he and Iran's President Hassan Rouhani had agreed to seek conditions for a resumption of dialogue on the Iranian nuclear question by 15th of July. The funeral ceremony for sailors killed in nuclear submarine fire was held in St. Petersburg yesterday. However, so great is the secrecy around the mission that the official funeral ceremony was closed for media, but journalists were allowed to enter the cemetery shortly after it ended. On Friday, Russian President Vladimir Putin bestowed top state honors on the sailors.
14 Russian Navy crew killed in a fire on a nuclear submarine on Monday were buried in the Serefimorsky cemetery of the country's second city, St. Petersburg, under tight security. All of them were given posthumous honors, and 4, all captains, were awarded the nation's highest honor, Hero of the Russian Federation. Russia has not revealed any details about their mission. The submarine has not been officially identified, and what it was doing is considered a state secret. The Kremlin says the crew contained a fire that broke out aboard the vessel, saving the nuclear power reactor, and that they died from inhaling toxic smoke. But so great is the secrecy around the mission that the gates of the cemetery were guarded by military police, and one official told AFP news agency the identities of those attending were mostly kept secret.
Meanwhile, a group of 41 rescued migrants have disembarked from a charity ship in Italy a day after the captain defied a ban on docking in the country. Despite warnings, the Alex sailed to the port yesterday because of intolerable hygienic conditions aboard. The migrants have now all come ashore after hours of waiting under guard. Italy's Interior Minister Matteo Salvini had earlier vowed he would not allow migrants to disembark. Last year, he closed Italian ports to rescue ships, and Italy has introduced fines for anyone sailing into its waters without permission. Italy has been one of the main destinations for migrants attempting to reach Europe via the North Africa route, mostly from Libya. Now, every year, natural and cultural landmarks from around the world are signaled out for their outstanding universal value to humanity. UNESCO's World Heritage Committee has been meeting in Baku in Azerbaijan to decide which site deserves special status and protection. The 43rd session meets until 10th of July, but here are some additions made to their list so far.
China's migratory bird sanctuaries along the coast of the Yellow Sea Bohai Gulf were added to the World Heritage List as a natural site at the ongoing 43rd session of the UNESCO World Heritage Committee in Azerbaijan's capital of Baku. It brings the number of Chinese sites inscribed on the World Heritage List to 54 and raises the Chinese tally of World Natural Heritage Sites to 14. Meanwhile, the historic centre of Paraty, one of Brazil's best-preserved coastal towns, was added to UNESCO's World Heritage List on Friday afternoon. Paraty, located between the Serra da Boquena mountain range and the Atlantic Ocean, is home to a number of species, some of which are threatened, such as the jaguar. UNESCO also inscribed Myanmar's ancient capital Bagan as a World Heritage Site, nearly a quarter of a century after the complex of Buddhist temples was first nominated for listing. The decision recognizes the importance of the central Myanmar site, which included more than 3,500 stupas, temples, monasteries and other structures built between the 11th and 13th centuries, and will likely be a boon to Myanmar's tourist industry. The ancient city of Babylon has also been designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The designation came after years of lobbying by Iraq, making it the 5th World Heritage Site within the borders of a country known as a cradle civilization.
An all-round performance for Isipatana College ensured that they booked a place in the semi-final of the President's Knockout Trophy 2019, which officially began yesterday. St. Joseph's College went down 19 points to 17 in the third quarter final, worked off at the Royal College Sports Complex. Russian Gunawardana kick-started this crucial game for St. Joseph's, but Isipatana dominated possession early in the game. The Green Machine gave away a few penalties during the early stages, and Santush Algamal obliged for a 40-meter three-pointer to open the scoring for Joes. Isipatana continued to play an attacking brand rugby as Ashan Gunaratna broke the Joes' defence with a superb run, but was finally brought down near the 10-meter line. Isipatana continued to use their backs as the Josephians struggled to keep up with the pace. Joes had to reply quickly, and they did it when their forwards kept on going with the pick and drive as Siobhan Gregory finally managed to touch down. Isipatana kept piling on the pressure, but unwanted handling errors cost them a few try-scoring opportunities. In the final move of the game, St. Joseph's opted for a 55-meter three-pointer to win the game, but the kick from Algama had direction but not the distance, as Isipathana secured a nail-biting victory and marched forward to the semi-final. And with that, we conclude this edition of First at 9. Thank you for joining us and have a pleasant evening.